Well, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Charles Richard, and I have a video for you. I've been doing photography as a hobby and cinematography as a hobby as well for over 40 years. And I would like to bring some of my experiences to you using old equipment, my good things that I have found, about this equipment, and my bad things as I progress into bringing this older technology into our new era of this year in 2026. So today, I am doing a video based on my camera blowing up. And do I mean that it actually blew up? Absolutely not. All right, what I do mean is that my camera has grown in maturity. Now, it doesn't mean when I say grown in maturity, I don't mean that it has grown in size. Sometimes because obviously a lot of photographers and cinematographers, and the idea of blowing up or getting bigger or better means that you need to have more things. It's not always the situation or the scenario, at least not for me. I don't do this for commercial use. I do this as a hobby, so therefore I don't have customers which actually are looking for certain things. I do this because I do it as a form of art, which is what photography and cinematography actually is. And that is obviously if you're doing it for yourself. If you're doing it for somebody else, then that is their interpretation of how they want to be able to be portrayed as in their eyes, right? But I'm doing this for me. So keeping that in mind, my last video was a video of what's in my bag. Now, what's in my bag and what was in my bag in that particular video has changed minutely, but very much, I think, essential, and it was an important change for the way that I shoot, the way that I do things, the way that I like to be able to have my final product look like, right? And so I want to talk to you about that. On my last video, you saw that I had two lenses, two very older lenses, vintage lenses, right, that were built in the very early 60s. They were heavy. One was a 50 millimeter 1.4 and the other one was a 135 3.5. Those two lenses are extremely nice lenses. They're very good lenses. But do I actually need them? Do I actually need to carry that extra weight? What is it that I'm looking for? Is a 50 millimeter and a 135 millimeter going to give me what I want, or the style of shooting that I am trying to aim for? Is it going to give me the portability that I'm looking for? Is it going to give me the colors that I need? Well, this is what this video is about. And as we go through this video, I will explain to you my thoughts and what I have learned through the 40 years of experience as to what seems to be today in 2026 important to me, so that I am able to get a final product looking the way that I like it to look. So let's start with my newest setup. My newest setup, it is still based out of the Nikon F. I'm still using my Nikon F that you see right here. Why? Because I love the mechanical, the analog, way that this particular camera shoots. It doesn't break. It is practically unbreakable. It is very good for my form and my style of shooting. I shoot film. I don't shoot digital. I don't believe that digital has the same quality of essence and richness of that of film. Now, that doesn't mean that for you, it might be the opposite way. You might think that it does, and that's okay too. Remember, photography is a form of art. It is a form of art, and everybody has a different way of expressing themselves. This is my way of how I express myself. I express myself best with analog film, film that actually needs to be developed, film that actually needs to go through a process, film that actually does not need and cannot. It needs to be thought. It needs to. You need to be able to look at light. You need to be able to look at the film chemicals that are used in the film stock that you're using. You need to look at the lens, okay, if the lens actually brings that quality that you're looking for, and composition, and all of that plays a very important part of how I am able to capture what I like, and that is what I like to portray in this video. So how do I do it? How am I doing it? Well, I am doing it by using this 1960s. All right, this particular Nikon F actually was made in 19. It started being made from 1959, and I think it was made like for a few years. I don't know exactly. I think the last one was made in 1972 or it's 1973. This is an older one. I should say, I'm sorry, the newer one. Okay, a newer one of the first SLR type camera that was ever built, was built by Nikon, and this F series camera body, and it has what we call a photomic FTN meter, which means that it has a sensor that you see up here which captures light, and for the very first time it had the ability to have a sort of a light meter inside the actual viewfinder in here, that you can actually measure what if you had enough light or if you didn't have enough light. Now, with that said, all right, I have added to this analog, or this Nikon F camera, a Nikkor zoom lens. This zoom lens is a 24-50, as you can see right here. It is a Nikkor 24-50. It is a 3.3 to 4.5 aperture, right? It is a variable aperture, but it is not a fast aperture, but it is enough for what I'm looking for. I don't shoot at night, and I don't look to do photos with extreme bokehs and all this kind of stuff, you know, which is what the faster lenses are good for. Now, with the proper lighting, right, which if I need to have more lighting, I can always bring, this lens is more than adequate for my style of shooting. It might not be yours, but it is for me. The color richness that this particular lens brings is totally ideal. The richness is very rich, it's very natural, it's true to what you see with your eyes, which is very important to me. It is an autofocus lens, but this autofocus lens can work on this camera as a manual lens, because obviously this Nikon F is completely manual. Now, furthermore, the next upgrade that I did was I actually upgraded to what is called an Altura photo. It is a speed light. This camera does not have TTL. This actual flash has TTL, but I don't use TTL. I used it in manual mode. Why did I choose it? Well, because it's digital, and because I have more control to be able to control the intensity of the flash. You know, it gives me more of the ability, right, to be able to control and actually have the proper lighting for what I use it for. And what I use it light for, the strobe mostly for, is for macro photography, for doing things that are close-ups. That is what I use this for mostly. Once in a while, I might use it if I do something night, or if I want to use it as a film to do some maybe portrait photography, or some other photography, but as a whole, I don't use it that way. I use it mostly for macro, and it is enough for what I am using it for. Notice that I say it is enough, all right? Because most of you might say, well, but you need a more powerful, why don't you get a more powerful flash? Well, a more powerful flash is only good if you're gonna use that power that that flash is actually providing for you to maybe do a portrait, right? Which is a little bit further. But for close up, you don't need more. What you do need is less and more controlling or more controllable, right, of a flash to be able to reduce the amount of light of flash that you can get out of your unit, to be able to produce the photography for macro. All right, so the more that you can adjust your flash to be able to give you less light, in macro photography, the better it is for you to be able to get a what we call a clear, softer photo, as your final product. This is what I am using right now. It's much lighter than what I had before because the lens actually weighs less than my smallest lens, which was a 50 millimeter 1.4. How much it weighs, I don't know, but I can tell the difference by the weight itself. What has the most weight here is the flash itself, because this particular flash takes 4 AA batteries where my other flash took only 2. So why did I change it? Why did I not use the other flash? Well, one major reason. The major reason was because the other flash sat a little bit lower, and because the flash sat lower and closer to the lens, it would give me a shadow when I was doing my macro photography, and that was due to the height of the lens in relationship to the flash, and that alone gave me the not the idea, but the correctiveness, right, that I had to take, which was to raise my flash higher, right, and get something that was a little bit more powerful and that could be controlled better, so that being that it's higher, it won't produce that shadow when I do my macro photography. So this is my new setup. This is what I fit inside my Louis Vuitton bag that I showed you last time. It fits perfectly. It fits, as a matter of fact, it gives me more room on my bag to be able to carry more things like batteries, extra film, so it's a much better fit than carrying the 2 lenses. And gives me one other thing that sometimes when you're shooting the way that I shoot, which is that it's 1 lens, not 2 lenses. I don't have to worry about I have to change my lens if I want to get a telephoto, or I have to change my lens if I want to get something that is wider. By me having a zoom lens, it is like having multiple prime lenses all built into one. This lens has the wide capability as well as a normal. It is not considered a telephoto, but it's good enough for portraits. A 24 to 50 millimeter lens, a lens that is a newer lens that I'm able to use with this setup, is excellent. Plus, I've added what we call a polarizing filter. And the other thing that also plays a very important role, as to my experience, is that this is a 62 millimeter lens. It is not a 52 millimeter lens. The wider your lens, the more light it has the capability of bringing into your film. And by that alone, it gives you, for me, my experience is it gives you richness in color, and it gives you a more clear image. This is why I chose this lens. So With that said, let me show you some of the previous photography that I was able to capture with the Nichromat, which is the EL version that you have seen me on the video, and I'll put a photo of the camera itself. Right now it's getting a COA. With the 35 to 70 millimeter 3.5 aperture all throughout the range, using the Kodak Gold 200 and the Kodak Portra 400. Let me show you some of those images. And when you see some of those images with that lens, that will show you that a lens that is not quote unquote considered to be a super good lens, because it is not fast. It's not a fast lens. It's not a 1.8. It's not a 1.4. It's not a 1.2. You're still able, or I was still able, to capture good quality photos with it. Fast lens doesn't mean that you will be able to capture a better image. It just means that you are able to do certain things if that is what you're looking for. For example, bokeh. I don't like bokeh. I don't like to use bokeh, so therefore I don't need a fast lens. I just need one that can produce the quality and the character of the eras of when film was being brought with Panavision and cine tones. You know, that type of quality image, that cleanliness, that richness of photo is what I'm looking for, and this will give me that particular look, and therefore this is the tool of my choice to be able to produce the images that you're gonna see right here. And if you like anything, just let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more, as soon as I get my next rolls of Portra 400s, which I have already sent, I will put them on my next video so you can see what I was able to capture with the 50 1.4 and the 135 3.5. And that is the next set of Portra 400 film with the Portra 400, Kodak Portra 400 that I use, obviously, right? It's the next series of photos that I'm going to be bringing to you. And then I will bring you the photos that I'm able to catch with this, and you will see a huge difference, and a difference of the ability, that what I'm talking about when I put them next to each other in comparison. And I guess that's it. I guess that's all I gotta say. All right, I hope you enjoy the photos. And again, if you want to see more videos like this, and you want to see when I do post a video, please subscribe, hit your thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.